Hi guys, this is the second update for my Project 10 pan. Things have been moving along slowly, I think. I am now over my latest stresses in life, so hopefully I can get back to some decent routines and get some items moving. So I just thought I'd quickly go over this update with you. I do have my tablet with me, which has my weights on, so if I do look down a bit, that's probably what I'm looking at. And so let's get into the update for my project pan. So the first item in my project pan is my concealer. I'm currently using this one from Collection. This is their Lasting Perfection Concealer in Fair. I believe they have repackaged since I purchased this one, so it probably doesn't look like this anymore. But for this one, its new weight for this month is 13.46 grams. Its weight last month was 13.48 grams. So that's a usage of 0.02 grams. So I have used a small amount of that, but not very much. As I said, with everything going on in life, I haven't worn a full face of makeup very often in the last month. So that's probably why there's not a huge amount of usage on some of my makeup items. My next product was my highlighter. I'm using this one by Sleek. This is their mono highlighter in the shade Solstice Equinox, which is just a nice champagne coloured highlighter. As you can probably see, I have got a little bit of a dip going in the middle there, but no pan showing yet. But then obviously as a highlighter it does take a while to get through. So for this update, the weight of this now is 46 grams exactly. At the previous update, its weight was 46.04. So this actually has gone down 0.04 grams. So there has been a little bit of usage on that one, which is nice to see, which is always good to see things being, the usage showing in the weights. So the next item in my project is my mascara. I'm currently using this one by Maybelline. This is the Sensational Sky High mascara. I think it's black. Yep, it is a black one. So that's my next item. And for this weigh-in, this weighs 22 grams. The last weigh-in, this also weighed 22 grams. So there's not showing any usage on that. I'm not sure if there's an air bubble in the tube, obviously, because when you put the top in and out, it does obviously force some air in and out with it. So that's possibly why it still weighs the same. This one has been open for a while now, so I think it is getting towards the end as well, so that might account for some of that. So that is that one. The next item on my project list is my hand cream, which I just have to stretch to grab. I'm currently using this hand cream here by L'Occitane, which is very reflective, so you will have to mind the glare on that one. I have had to put my lights on this morning because it is quite a grey and rainy, miserable day. But this is the L'Occitane hand cream. It's just their plain 20% shea butter hand cream. And for this weigh-in, this weighed 150.59 grams. And at the last weigh-in, it was 154.11 grams. So that's a usage of 3.52 grams, which is a little more than last month, but very similar. I think the month before I used 3.28 grams. So that is consistently being used, which is nice to see that it is consistently having consistent use, and hopefully will continue to have consistent use until it is all finished. So the next item I chose for my project was my anti-bac. I'm currently using this one from Bath & Body Works. This is in Twisted Peppermint. As you can see, I've still got a way to go with this one. It doesn't get a lot of use. I use it to clean my hands when I'm putting my makeup on, because I do use my hands quite a lot for my makeup. I do put a lot of things on with my fingers, so my fingers do get quite sticky. So for this weigh-in, this one weighs 29 grams. At the last weigh-in, it weighed 30.13 grams. So that's usage of 1.13 grams, which again is very similar to the previous month where the usage was 1.23 grams. So it's another one that's slow and steady progress. But with quite a few of these, especially my makeup related ones, I am hoping that if I get back into wearing makeup more often now, that I can speed that usage up slightly. So the next item in my project was my leave-in conditioner, and I was using this one by OGX. This is their air dry cream, and as you may have spotted, if you're clever, you'll say I was using this one, because this one is now finished. I did have it upside down for a while over a small travel pot to get the last bits out. I think there is a still tiny bit stuck to the bottom that I just can't get to come down. So this one is all done. I think there is a tiny little bit left in the pot, but I'm calling this one done for this project. So this packaging weighs 45.6 grams, and this at the last check-in, this weighed 63.35 grams. So I've used up 17.75 grams of product from here to finish this bottle, which again is reasonably consistent with the previous month. I'd used 15.26 grams. So that's another nice consistent use. I do tend to wash my hair 2 or 3 times a week most weeks, and unless I have to blow dry it, I do tend to air dry it where I can, so I don't get too much heat damage. So that one has been finished this month, and that is the first empty for my project, which is always nice to see the first one done. The next item in my list is my SPF. And I'm currently using this one by Eucerin. This is their SPF 50 Sun Fluid in the mattifying. I do quite like this one. It is definitely not as, it's a bit greasy when it goes on, but it does dry down very well. It works well under my makeup, but it is very runny, so you do have to be careful when you apply it. It's a very runny consistency, a very thin consistency. But this one now weighs 51.17 grams. At the last update it weighed 53.76 grams, so I've used 2.59 grams, which is a little bit down on the previous month, which when it was 3.19, but it's still reasonably slow and steady progress. That's another one. Hopefully if we get some nicer weather, this progress should hopefully speed up. I do try and remember to use this every day, but obviously I'm much more likely to use it, and possibly even use it more than once a day, if the sun is out and it's nice weather. The next item in my project was my primer, and I chose this primer, which is my eyeshadow primer. This is from Colourpop. This is their party proof eye primer. It's quite hard to read on there. So that is with my current primer, and this now weighs 17.65 grams. At the last update it weighed 17.69 grams, so that's a usage of 0.04. It's another one that's slow and steady progress, but hopefully this one will get used up. Obviously there's not a huge amount of item in here. There's not actually a weight on the back of this tube, so I'm not sure how much is in here. But that is obviously being used slowly but surely. The next item on the list is an eyeshadow, and I picked my Revolution Fortune Favours the Brave palette, and I've decided to concentrate my efforts on one eyeshadow. I do have pan in one eyeshadow in here, so I am trying to finish that one eyeshadow. I shall try not to blind you with the mirror, but it is this one here. So as you can see, it has got a nice pan showing, and I'm hoping to get that one finished at some point. Obviously I can't weigh one eyeshadow, so I am weighing this whole palette as an item to keep track of the weights. And this currently weighs 191.47 grams, and at the last update it also weighed 191.47 grams. So if I have used anything, it's not enough to show up on the scales just yet, but I am using that one not every time I do my makeup, but I'm trying to use it most of the time, so that hopefully it does get some decent usage and I can get it out of this project. And the last of my original 10 items is my setting spray, and I'm currently using this one from number 7. This is the Stay Perfect Matte Fixing Mist. I do quite like this one. It has got a nice fine mister. It's a pump rather than an aerosol as well, which I like, because I'm not a huge fan of putting aerosol into the atmosphere if I can help it. So that is my setting spray, and this currently weighs 105.7 grams. And at the last update it weighed 106.18 grams. So that's another very steady usage. For this month I've used 0.48 grams, and last month I used 0.49 grams. So that usage has been also slow and steady, and hopefully will be another one that I can get to speed up a little bit if I get to use a little bit more makeup in the coming months. So that's all the items that were in my project pan, and I have a total usage for the month of 25.57 grams of product, which is slightly more than last month when it was 23.52, but it is reasonably similar. So it's definitely slow and steady progress, which I am hoping to keep up going at least much, if not to speed up. But as you may have noticed, we have one empty item, so I do need to bring in one new item, and I used a random generator to pick a category from my inventory spreadsheet, and the category it picked was a face mask. So the one I'm currently using is this one from Superdrug. This is just the We Heart face mask brand. This is quite old now. This is just their charcoal face mask. It is a clay type mask, so it has got a decent bit of usage on it. I'm probably about halfway, if not slightly over halfway. It's probably not the easiest thing to see, but I have weighed this one along with everything else yesterday, and the starting weight for this is 60.43 grams. So I'm going to try and remember to use this about once a week if I can. So hopefully we see some nice steady progress on that one as well. So that is the end of my update for my project pan. I'm happy that I've got my first empty, and so that's definitely progress only on the second update. I'm not sure how long it's going to be until I have my next empty, as everything definitely seems to be on a slow and steady progress at the moment, but we'll see how that goes. So let me know if you're doing any project pan, and I can hopefully follow along for you. Put anything you want to ask me in the description, and subscribe if you want to follow along with my project pan. I also do a monthly empties and update on what's come into my collection through the month, because it's all part of my financial freedom journey. I am looking to hopefully save up enough to retire in 10 years time, which will be retiring early for me. And I'm using this as part of my no buy and low buy to help to encourage me to actually use my products and hopefully not buy too many and save up as much money as possible. So if that sounds like an interesting journey, do remember to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.